Diablo 4 players, I think we just broke the game with a brand new best rogue build in the game. And while you guys have probably seen a lot of content creators talk about the one-shot rogue, I uploaded a video in Season 2 showing it off, and it was a bugged build. And then in Season 3, we were able to do it again over here, and we could actually hit for a billion plus damage because each individual arrow would hit for over 100 mil on rapid fire. Now, this was added in because of Beast Fall boots, but in specifically Season 4, we have access to tempering as well as greater affixes, which can actually let us loop this and not have to require these like 50 different steps to actually pull off the one shot. This build, unlike other builds that you guys have maybe seen on YouTube, is going to require like 10 different steps. With this one, all you need to do is build it up one time, and then after that, you can just loop it again and again, and it's probably one of the most broken things in the entire game. So, what's actually going to be changing in Season 4? So there are going to be two things, and I'll show you guys some mock-up gameplay here in a second, as we don't have access to the PTR right now, and of course it's down because Season 4 is coming out in just a short amount of time here. But there are some changes. So one, Banished Lord's Talisman actually only requires you to get 275 of your resource, which means if we specifically get 275, we can infinitely loop this, and with greater affixes as well as tempering, you can actually achieve that. Now, what's even cooler with this, unlike other builds, we are actually going to be looping our ultimate. So preparation is getting changed also in Season 4, not requiring 100 energy, but now 75. And with a change on the board, not on the Paragon, but on the skill tree, we can actually get a node over here called Exposure, which will allow us to specifically reduce the cooldowns of our trap skills, which will be tied to our ultimate. And with Season 4, with the new grenade theme, we can actually just release grenades, and grenades can actually count as traps, therefore proccing that ability to actually reduce the active cooldown of our trap skill. So there's a lot of things to go ahead and take in right here, and I'm going to show you guys quickly some gameplay, then I'm going to go ahead and explain the math. Now, this will work for Eternal as well as on the Seasons. Now, if you're playing on Eternal, you actually can get even more maximum energy. However, Eternal can still get greater affixes. You can still temper your gear. So you can actually, in Eternal, actually make this even stronger if you wanted to. But, of course, you will have to run your legacy gear because rings no longer roll with the maximum energy stat. That is actually being obsoleted. But if you do happen to have them, it's fine. If you don't have them, it's fine too. You just need to get greater affixes and good tempers. So let's go ahead and start off with what I'm going to explain. And I'm going to go and mention, this is probably one of the most busted builds in the game. However, it is an end game only. Don't expect while you're leveling to be able to one-shot everything in the game and loop your infinite and have 100% crit 100 overpower in the game. This is an endgame build, okay? So now that we got that out of the way, let's get started with the explanation. And keep in mind, I just recorded this today. Season 4 isn't out, but I'm trying to give you guys the info so you guys can get ready to actually build this. So I'm going to show you guys how it's going to work. So what we're going to be able to do is, again, infinitely loop this. Now, you'll see I have 227 for my energy. I don't have access to the greater affixes or tempering because it's not out yet. But once we temper our gear and get those high numbers on our resource, we're going to be able to, again, infinitely do this without having to do this little gimmicky thing where we have to do all these little steps. It's only going to be needing us to spend the resource once, and then we go ultimate, then we go core skill, then we go ultimate and core skill. Or if your gear isn't perfect, it's ultimate, core skill, core skill, core skill, or ultimate, core skill, ultimate. So it depends on your resource, but let me go ahead and actually show it off over here. So what we're going to be able to do is we can use traps in the very beginning. Now, there's kind of several different ways that you can make this. You can throw in different imbues also because it will give you extra lucky hit chance, which is tied to how we are going to be able to loop our ultimate because we do need that thing to proc to be able to spam it like super fast. But you're going to get a huge amount of attack speed in Season 4 because it's just an easy stat to roll. But this is how it's going to actually work for the combo. So the first time, it's going to change not to 300 though, it's going to be 275. So once you build that up one time, that's all you need to do. And then what you're going to need to do after that is you're going to activate your ultimate and then your core skill. So when you activate your ultimate and then that core skill, what it's going to do is all of the resource that you spent, right, for the Banished Lord's Talisman, is going to make it so your next core skill is going to deal that insane amount of damage, because Beastfall Boots make it so it consumes all of your energy, and that will work with Banished Lord's Talisman. So that means you will then be able to go for that guaranteed overpower, and as long as it crits, you get that crazy amount of damage. Keep in mind the gameplay, don't look at the damage here, because I have a lot of pieces of gear that are literally just equipped for specifically that aspect and or that energy that I needed to get as high as possible on the Eternal. But later, we're going to be able to get a lot higher stats. So you'll see that I'm already back at 227. This little indicator right here is for Banished Lord's Talisman. This will allow us to essentially loop it. So you'll notice, though, that my ultimate right here is not on cooldown. That's because all the arrows have not connected yet. And you will see the cooldown goes from 32 to a different number. And there's another update. Remember, preparation is getting a buff to not require you to be 100, but to be 75. So you'll see that we will also be proccing the key passive for the trap to have additional cooldown reduction, because you can get additional lucky hit with your imbued skills here. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out, or technically it's like non-physical damage here. But we're going to go and see how it went from 32 to 18 instantly. Now, we only need the preparation to activate a couple more times. And again, the gameplay that you just saw requires 100 energy to be spent, while the new one requires 75. So that's where the huge difference is. And so what you're able to do, if you are playing on Eternal, it's even better. On Eternal, you can get 314 resource, but if not, you get 286.1. That's the numbers. This is like quick napkin math. And on the Builder website, I have to manually add these in, and I'll go ahead and explain that real quick. So first off, if you get the item to have a greater affix, and remember, you can trade these items now. You can trade your legendaries, and you can also trade unique items in the game. So you need to have a greater affix on the resource. So that's maximum resource over here. This should be pretty easy to get because we have the ability to trade. Again, this is an endgame only build, and what you want to do is you want to temper on it multiple times. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to be easy, but this is objectively going to be one of the crazier best builds in the game. And also, you're going to be able to temper on, you can either get your marksman crit strike chance. Keep in mind, this one-shot build, unlike the other ones that I've uploaded in the past, this will only work for marksman builds. And the reason why is because marksman gives you just crazy amount of crit. It's basically free to get maximum crit. Like, you can choose like flat like damage if you want to, or like damage to crowd control, close, whatever. But you can just get marksman crit strike chance, and if you happen to get this tempered on all of them, I mean, realistically, you're probably not going to get it on all of them. You can maybe hit it like once, and that's just 20 crit on your two-hander right there. That's 20 crit alone. That's not even counting your rings or anything like that. You can easily get 100% crit, which means you don't even have to go precision. If you want to go precision, it's whatever. And then if you want to temper and you hit the rapid fire projectiles and you go ahead and masterwork that, you can get up to a huge amount. Now, even if we don't get this up right here, let's just say it's 50, and the other ones are at 25. Now, technically that is the perfect roll on it. More than likely, you're not going to hit the perfect roll, but you may be able to temper it, and pretty much what this will mean, if you did tactically max it out, I mean, it's pretty insane. You'd have over 100% chance for the rapid fire projectile to cast twice. Now, I haven't actually been able to see if this actually does count the Banished Lord's Talisman ones that are going out. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, you're hitting for over 1 billion damage. Most of the stuff will probably just die instantly, and you don't need to get that much damage. There comes to a point where, like, you're going to be overcapped on crit, but I'm just trying to explain to you how you would essentially get 100% crit on the build. Keep in mind, your rings, they can roll with crit on it. And on top of that, you can get greater affixes, you can add the masterworking, and on a ring, if you were to, let's say, go for crit on this, and let's say it rolled greater affix, I mean, you get 13 per ring, although you probably would want Scoundrel's Kiss, that way you can actually deal good AoE damage. So, basically, yeah, I mean, I have this, like, clip playing for a while here, and you can kind of see the way that the cooldown works. And even though it's not perfect right now, remember, we're getting a buff to precision. This is getting changed over here, and that way we can get this maybe 2 or 3 more times, depending on how much resource you get. Every time it's getting its activation, that's 5 more seconds. And if you're playing on Eternal, you can get trap cooldown reduction to actually roll on your gloves. But I'm just kind of spamming here so I can kind of show you guys the cooldown. So you see it goes from 37 over here, and sometimes you'll just see it give me like a big burst. and that is dependent on how many times rapid fire is hitting. And the thing that's even more OP with this system, and you do definitely want to throw this on, is that's making rapid fire projectiles cast twice, which basically means you have double lucky hit chance. If you roll this, and this is easy to hit, okay, not like getting any of the masterworking to hit on it, but if you just have all of these to actually activate, because it's basically 25 times 2, that's 50, and then you already have 50 here. And that's the without any tempering right there. So that's over 100. That's double. Now, if you were to, let's say, temper it and you go crazy, I mean, this is 77. You get like 150% chance for it basically to activate twice. Then we are making that activation even faster. And that is because on the build over here, where we have this, where the exposure, this is going to make it so we reduce the cooldown of our trap skill, which essentially is our ultimate. If you want to scale stun grenades, sure, that's possible, but I wouldn't really care about that. Keep in mind, this is a one-shot build. You're going to be one-shotting these. Don't scale it. You just specifically need to run the one where your grenades will count as traps in utility, and then you also need to run the Artful Initiative. This makes it so when you spend 100 energy, you get those stun grenades, which is going to be active every single time because your core skill spends it. So this will guarantee that you will get the stun grenades. The stun grenades now count as traps, and you guys get it from here, hopefully. I know that there's a lot of explanation in this build, and that's why I had to do this video this way versus my normal way, which is essentially just having the gameplay play, and I talk about the build guide like this one over here, which is the Scoundrels Kiss Rogue build. So you can start off with that one, and then you can eventually graduate into this. Again, I'm going to say this one is objectively the best one because, again, you're going to be able to loop it. I can't show you guys this one, but I'll update you guys with the full build once we go ahead and get it min-maxed, and I'll show you guys how we loop it. It's basically all you do is you just go from your ultimate after you use rapid fire. Again, you would get double lucky hit, so this is going to be twice as active. Going back to the first clip over here, you guys can see that even with just this, we're at 18 seconds here with just activating the rapid fire. Remember, we're going to be getting double rapid fire, or if you get the tempering, it's a 1.5 times amount of arrows that are coming out. Therefore, this should be even stronger, and the preparation is going to be buffed. So we'd get another like 10 seconds with that, and then obviously with double the amount, hopefully, it technically is a RNG proc, but when you're shooting out that many, it's going to activate at least one time. Now, if you activate it 2 or 3, 4 times, then yeah, obviously it's going to be even stronger. So once you go through the loop, and I'll put it in the notes, I'll do it like a little write-up here on the combo here, but basically after you activate it the first time, I mean, if you want to run the imbues and stuff, it's kind of cool because you can freeze the stuff. And if you do freeze the target, there's a lot more multipliers on it. And what you can do is you would then go rapid fire, then you go activate your ultimate, then you go rapid fire, and then you activate your ultimate. You just keep on going back and forth. You don't have to go ahead and set up, do the little dodge roll or anything like that. Just keep on activating them back and forth. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. This is technically kind of a theory crafted build as of right now, and I'm going to consider it still in beta. But like, hopefully you guys understand the concept, understand how it will work when the season does come out. But yeah, this is going to be an insane rogue build, guys, and I can't wait to show you guys it in action. After we get everything tempered and mastercrafted, this is going to be crazy because, again, you're just getting so many crazy multipliers that, like, no other build will actually have because, well, this is kind of what Rogue can actually do. So the one-shot build is back, and it's even better because now we get that 275 to loot Bannerlord's Talisman. Anyways, take care. Ranted long enough. If you guys have any questions or other suggestions, let me know down below, and we'll update the video in the future, and I'll give you guys the gameplay of it when the time does come. Anyways, take care, and I'm out. Peace.